Welcome to another how to build a deck video. I'm RustyCG. Today we're going to build a Wing Zero together. Due to the high demand on my last pool, Wing Zero is the second deck on the list. A green-white Wing Zero is the second deck on the highly voted on my last post on YouTube. You guys asked for it, I'm delivering it. In order to start building a deck, we should always ask yourself, why are you building the deck? Why do you want to play that deck? And what's your current meta? So to summarize Wing Zero, to start, you play Wing Gundam at turn 5 going second or turn 6 going first. And you're not going to play Wing Zero until turn 7 if you're going second and turn 8 if you're going first. So as you can tell, this is a late game deck. So most likely you need to survive all the way to turn 6, turn 7, turn 8 in order to drop your big boss and take over the game at that point, because you're going to have so much advantage and you're going to be protecting your board until turn 6, and that's when you're gonna take full control of the board, especially against aggro deck that they need to win by turn 6 or turn 7, because otherwise you're gonna drop Wing Zero and you just nuke the whole board and it'll be harder and harder for them to win. If you watch one of my previous video, which I'm not going to talk about today, is I tried a green purple, which is a highly aggro breaching Wing Zero deck that you guys can go back to watch it, because this deck we're mainly focusing on green white, and I will discuss about the multiple package of how you should build a deck based on your current meta. So on some of the comment on my previous video, you guys mentioned that, oh, how come I win X3, X4, how I lost all my games playing the deck that you told me to do. But it doesn't mean that a deck that I built for my meta, my locals, it doesn't mean that it would necessarily work for your meta, because your meta, your local have different deck, different player. So every time I build a deck, it's based on the player at my local, how I can win against the deck that's played in my local. I'll give you an example. 25% of the deck at my local are aggro. The other 25% is any white blocker deck. So white would be pairing with blue, red, or any other deck. So I would for sure playing Xinglong and Sword Strike. But if your meta doesn't play any aggro, for example, I traveled to Ottawa last weekend to play in my New Type Challenge 3, which has ended up winning. And over there, they have like 2 or 3 aggro deck. So if I bring a deck with Sword Strike into that meta, most likely I will lose, because Sword Strike, it's only good against aggro deck or a small unit deck. And for example, if your meta is not playing any blocker, then if you run Xinglong, those are dead cards in your deck. And I'm just not suggesting you to do it. So this is a quick disclaimer that you should play the deck that works best for you. And in this video today, I will tell you which package it's to counter which meta. But if you don't have any idea what your local is playing, or you're new to your local, you should play a deck that's versatile. So this is the build that I use for my regionals. My first regionals in Ottawa, I was teching for aggro, but I just ended up bricking and I just didn't get the unit that I needed in order to stop aggro. So in my second regionals in Orlando, I made a modification to this deck to make sure that I'm good against mirror match and I have enough blockers or units to defend myself against aggro. I will go over the standard build for a green-white Wing Zero deck, and after that we're gonna try to switch up the cards based on the meta that you're playing. So first of all, I like to build a deck going first. So it depends on you if you have preference. In my upcoming video, I will make a new video about going first versus going second. So there's no right or wrong answer, but it's just depending on how you build your deck. I hate losing a game because of a dice roll, so I always build a deck expecting going first. And if I win the dice roll, I might still go first. But it depends. Like some people win the dice roll and they decide to go second, but that will go into another video in the future. So a going first deck, I would play 4 Zord. It's quite straightforward. I'm not a fan of Zord, but I need to play Zord in case if I'm playing against aggro and that I'm going first. So I want to take away the first from my opponent, expecting they playing aggro. Majority of the deck that do well going first would be aggro, blue perp, red white, or any decks that need those 2 to 3 first resources early in the game. So by stealing away the first, you have the advantage in this. So most likely I'm building a wing 0 going first, and I play 4 Elthrid. So going first, I'm not playing any Rick Diaz because I don't want to hit my curve. I don't want to break my curve. If you're going first, on your turn 3, you play Alfred, a base, or a overflow, which is I will show later in the deck. And has a turn 3, turn 4, you play 2 Sword Strike. So that's a big debate if I should play 3 or 4 Sword Strike, but that's based on preference. I don't like to jam my hand with 3 Sword Strike, especially I'm not playing against aggro. So I feel 2 copy is good. And Sword Strike, it's aggro killer. So if you're able to get your pluses from your Sword Strike early in the game, that should be your go-to on turn 4. It's similar to a Gundam Admiral, but less broken, allowing to bounce Toggies, you can bounce a Weenie, you can bounce almost anything with a Sword Strike, and Sword Strike can allow you to kill Gundam Admiral for free without dying. And I'm running 3 Xinglong. The reason why I'm running Xinglong is because if you know that your meta at your locals or the tournaments that you're trying to play against are at least 25% playing blockers, Xinglong, it's a blocker killer. So you must run Xinglong in order to kill any possible blockers for free and allowing you to breach for the remaining one. And I'm playing 4 L Strike. I think L Strike it's one of the best 5 drop following Xinglong. This is actually the standard build. If you guys feel that 2 Sword Strike is not enough, you can drop 1 L Strike for another Sword Strike. So you're gonna play 3, 3, 3. That's something that I've been testing with the professor, Bradley. He's been running 3, 3, 3 because that is a variety. A 2 copy, you're gonna see it half of the time. 3 copies, you're gonna be seeing it a little bit more than half of the time. So you will see it when you need it, and you can discard the copy through overflow as soon as you know that your opponent is playing aggro or they're playing blockers. So if they're playing blocker aggro, you will know it very early. If they're playing red-white, you might not see it until turn 4, turn 3. So you might keep your overflow a little bit later so you can know what you're discarding and try to get as much information as possible before discarding something that you might need in the game. So for L Strike, it's something that I think it's standard, but you can adjust it based on your preference. And over here, I'm playing 4 Wing Gundam. I think this is the best card in the deck so far. I don't think there's any unit that can beat a Wing Gundam. A Wing Gundam can be played without the pilot or with the pilot. There's so many times that I just drop a Wing Gundam on the board turn 5 or turn 6 without linking it. So that allows me to have like 2 more extra resources. I can drop a blocker to protect him, or I can I can play a base plus keeping Unforeseen in my hand, and just wing. It's such a good unit by itself. So this deck, I'm playing 2 Justice. That's a big debate. A lot of people playing Freedom instead of Justice, but I feel Justice fit well with this deck because this deck I consider a wing 0 deck, an aggro deck. So you're supposed to be aggressive from the beginning all the way to the end, unless you're playing against an aggro deck. So if you're playing against an aggro deck, you need to be more a control deck. If you're playing against another white deck, you should play it as an aggro deck because you need to be aggressive. You keep attacking. I will swing with all my blockers as soon as possible. As soon as there's an opening, I will keep swinging. I need to knock down those shields to, like, let's say 4 or 3, or even 2 if you can. If your opponent's not doing anything, it's not blocking, you should just keep attacking with a green-white deck. Like, I don't care about the bodies, I will just go for shield. That's a big debate, so I think like some people are more conservative. They go for a Freedom instead of a Justice, but Justice Gundam, it's good in a mirror match because a Justice, you can have an extra unit. So if you swing, if you really need to trade, you can kill a Wing 0 just with a Justice and a token, or you can just kill also a Wing Gundam with both of them, which is a 7/7 equivalent. And I'm playing 4 Wing Gundam 0. Wing Gundam 0 is the second best card in the deck after Wing Gundam. It's the most hated card in the game. People hate it, but it's one of the best cards in the game as a whole. Not much to say about it. I'm playing 4 hero and 2 Chung Wufei with 4 Kira. Like in this deck, I think I tried playing 8 pilots, 10 pilots, and 12 pilots, and I feel that 10 pilot is the best ratio in this deck because you're not bricking. You can link Kira to almost any unit. You can link Hero with almost any unit. You can pair Chung Wufei with Wing Gundam, swing into a small weenie, and still survive and take no damage. So that's the crazy part about Chang, is that you can put on Xinglong and Wing as much as any other unit. Sometimes I put even Chang with L Strike to bounce something and turn it into a 6-5 units and just to block anything afterward. So I think this is the best ratio in my opinion. Some people would play Xinglong without Chang. I can remove the Chang and add back a Sword Strike, adding back 2 Rick Diaz, but that's on the second part of this video. And I'm playing 4 Overflow Affection. This is a must. You can drop 1 copy. I'm starting to play 3 Overflow in some of my decks because I needed the extra space. And having 4, sometimes it's too much, but I enjoy running 4 copy in a Wing Gundam because you need the drawing power, you need to filter, you need to get your units. And Overflow will allow you to throw away the Xinglong or the Sword Strike depending on your need. So I'm running 1 Unforeseen. I was running 2 copy in my Orlando regionals, and I feel like there's some time that I had the Unforeseen. The extra Unforeseen was not important, and I wish I had a Striker Pack instead. So in this deck, I'll be running 4 Striker Pack because I really need that extra breach. I need that extra protection in the early matchup. At first I was running 2 and 3, but now I'm running 1 and 4, and I think that was the best ratio so far. And over here I'm running 4 Underground Desert Base. I think 4 copy, this is I think one of the best base against aggro because it's so hard for them to kill a 6 HP base. So this is a standard Wing Zero deck based on my local and my meta. And like I said earlier, I would prefer removing 1 L Strike to add an extra Sword Strike. This is more a consistency. I like consistency because before I like to splash 1 card of 1 unit, another 2 pieces of another unit, and at the end of the day, the deck becomes less and less consistent. That's the main reason why a deck is bricking. And I don't want a deck to break, so I like consistency. I prefer having the unit than not having the unit. So this can be another option. So this is another option that I would do, playing 3-3-3. That's something that me and the professor we tested a lot before the Orlando Regionals, and I tried my best to make this deck the less bricking possible. So at the Orlando Regionals, I was not playing Justice. I didn't play Freedom. I was actually playing 2 Launcher Strike and 3 Rick Diaz because I hated aggro so much that in my first regional in Ottawa I was playing against 7 blue-green aggro, and I think I lost 4 of them. I won 3, but every time was like I was not drawing my blockers, so I all into the deck and play as much blocker as possible, but I'm pretty sure I'm regretting it. So I don't like playing this way because you have so much blockers that's not gonna get you out of situation besides defending yourself. So sometimes you need to be aggressive a little bit, you need to push a little bit and come back in defensive and push again. So this was not the deck that I liked, and having Rick Diaz and Alfred together, that's just too much. So the second option, so in case if your meta is full of mirror matches, late game decks, and big boss unit, you should run the Death Side package. So the Death Side package consists of 4 Death Side, 4 Duo. This might make you brick a little bit, but I think you don't have a choice. So what I'm gonna do is I'll be removing the 3 Sword Strike if you're 100% certain that your local are not playing aggro. I would remove the 2 Justice, and I would remove the 2 Chung Wufei, and I will remove 1 Xinglong. That will give me 8 spots back into the deck. So what I'm gonna do is I will add 2 Bird Mode, 3 Death Sights, and 3 Duo. The reason why I'm not playing Bird Mode in my green-white deck is because My meta is too aggressive, so bird mode just gonna make you lose one turn to get another turn. I love bird mode. Like, I would play 4 copy of bird mode if I could, if my meta was not that aggro and it was more late game. So bird mode will allow you to ramp up faster to get you to your turn 6 and your turn 8 2 turns earlier. And especially with Death Sight, you can actually play Wing Zero on turn 5 or turn 6, and that's actually insane. So this deck will only work if you need to take down any big units. Duo will stopping your opponent to do unforeseen on the duo because your AP cannot be reduced. Make sure that you play a deck according to your meta. You can net deck, you can look at any build possible online and just net deck that, and after that, if you realize that it's not working, there's specific reason why, because that deck was made for those specific meta, and you need to adapt the deck based on what works the best for you. So this is a part 1 on how to build a green-white Wing Zero deck, and I will do a part 2 closer to GDO 3 or after 1 week after GDO 3 to teach you guys how to build the next version of a green-white, because I feel a lot of stuff gonna be shifting in the meta, so I'm not gonna spend too much of your time to talk about the deck that might potentially change in the upcoming 3 to 4 weeks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. You can comment below which deck you want me to make on my next how-to video. On to the next one.